Hey there, welcome back to our part two mini series on finding a worthwhile career for yourself. And in this section, we're going to be looking at research and skill building. Now that you've identified some of your passions, some of your values, some of your skills, we're going to research what fields might better accommodate some of those skills and interests than others. So we're building on that self-assessment and that career audit or that skills assessment audit that we did in part one, turning some of those insights into tangible career possibilities in our region's positive job growth market. There's like this here in Kelowna, we're we're lucky and in some ways not so lucky to be living in one of the fastest growing places in the whole country. There's jobs being created every day, every week, and you just have to go looking for them. So, in this research and skill building phase, it transforms some of that initial confusion and stagnation into excitement and opportunity by broadening your horizons and equipping you with some practical tools. Our economy here in Kelowna spans a wide array. There's agriculture, tech, healthcare, many other sectors that are ripe for the picking. Quite literally, if there's cherry picking, apple picking, all the peaches, all sorts of fruits. But so in this expanded action plan, it can help guide some of that discovery. So as you research these industries, roles, and trends, proper research is crucial as it allows you to more efficiently spend your time, energy, and sometimes money, whether it's paying for a course or even just the logistics of taking bus fare to go to a job fair, like things like this. It's not as there's a less likelihood of that time, energy, and money being wasted going down rabbit holes or obtaining a job that you really don't like, and after 2 or 3 months realizing that this doing research can help lessen the likelihood of that. But it's not to say that if that does happen and you've done your research and you strive out there for a job and you land that job, that's great, and you've done parts that you need to do to get a job in the first place. But even if it does come that you learn that you really don't like that job, sometimes learning those things that you really don't like can be just as important, if not even more important, than identifying the things that you like about a job. So taking all these learnings as they go and rolling with the punches. So in this first part, we're going to research industries, roles, and trends. Platforms like LinkedIn or Glassdoor can give you an insight into the lived experience of people who have worked at various industries, whether you're just looking at a profile on LinkedIn for a counselor like myself and what things am I posting. I personally don't have LinkedIn, but lots of people do. Glassdoor as well. You might have to watch out for a bit of a negativity bias there, as often if people have a positive experience somewhere, and this goes not just for jobs, but most things, not they're less likely to leave a positive review as they are to leave a negative review. So just keep that in mind. But if I could recommend anything, it would be going to ONET Online, and that's linked right below the little paragraph that I'm talking about here in the description. From there, you can search up jobs from, forestry technician to winemaker to, town counselor, fisherman, you name it, and it'll lay out the skills, the primary skills, secondary skills, the ways of like the qualifications you would need to obtain that job. It's a very thorough resource and a great place to do some research, and kind of compare that to the skills, the abilities that you have, the interests, your values, and that you did in part one, and compare it to these lists. There's also Work BC's job market updates for insights on emerging trends in the Okanagan Valley. Or there's also the Invest Kelowna's economic indicators, and that's also linked below. And that can help you better forecast for where jobs and whole sectors and fields are going to head into the future. You can also follow industry influencers, whether it's here in Kelowna or just broadly, and look at some of their, almost all of them will have videos saying what I really like about this job, what I really don't like about this job. Here's what I didn't know going in. Here's what I wish I knew going in. And start to use some of that as anecdotal evidence to start to form an opinion of whether or not a specific job or sector would be right with you or right for you, and how well it's aligned with your values and skills and abilities and interests. Next, you're going to want to look at networking strategically and with intention. Commit to reaching out to 3 to 5 professionals weekly, whether it's via LinkedIn, professional networks, or even just simply searching up a local relevant business and seeing if they'd have time to chat. You'd be surprised. There's many professionals that are more than happy to help prospective peers as they get into the field. Just meeting them up for coffee, grab them a coffee, and pick their brain for 20 or 30 minutes. Can be very insightful. I've certainly done that a lot in the past. You can in those intro emails, as you're sending them out to people or prospective people that you'd like to pick their brain, I would stay away from using a lot of AI. You want it to sound personable, like they're a real person. Shows that you are investing some of your time, at least initially. Like, everybody uses AI these days, but I think I would, as a business owner, I would much more appreciate a nicely personally written, just a couple sentences, than some glaringly obvious AI written thing. I might not look at it as favorably. I'll probably still answer the email though, but yeah, give yourself as best shot as you can, and either ask some questions in that initial email or get the ball rolling, or meet up with them and have some of these questions in your back pocket, such as what surprised you the most about transitioning from tech to being a teacher, or from education to tech, and what do you like the most and least about your role? Questions like this. You can attend some virtual webinars or local meetups through career workshops. The Kelowna Chamber of Commerce hosts regular and free networking events. There's job fairs posted on Eventbrite in Kelowna. Both of those links are listed below. These can help connect you with employers in high demand fields, or encourage connection with peers going through the same process that you are right now yourself. I've saved these for last because going into a job fair or networking event is somewhat of an informal interview, and may very well be the place where you would make your first impressions, and falls in between research and taking decisive action, which we'll go into in part 3. And actually, I misspoke there. I have one more section to say. So now, this one kind of falls into taking decisive action. So it still applies, but you're going to want to bridge some skills gaps with targeted learning and or volunteering, or a bit of both. Now, as you've done research into the field, you've looked at ONET, what skills are required, you've maybe met with a few people in the field, whether it's meeting them up for coffee or at a job fair, and pick their brain, and you have a better understanding of what the demands and responsibilities of the field are, and skills that you need to use to excel in the field. You might be seeing that you're lacking a few skills. So pinpoint a couple of these and set a goal of honing in on some of these, one skill at a time if there's a gap. To help with motivation along the way as you're picking at some of these skills, recall why you would want this career or position in the first place, and track some small improvements, or track all the small improvements. There's free training at the YMCA Employment Services, and then at Okanagan College there's a skills building program where you can apply for grants to help financially along the way. Both of those are linked below. Volunteering in a field or establishment is also an excellent way to not only hone new skills, but also to demonstrate the skills that you already have, and also to network. You never know who you might be able to meet, and at some of these networking events. This is a bit unrelated, but I met my now wife at a volunteer position. I never thought going into that would happen, but you never know who you'll meet, and volunteering is a great way to get your foot in the door, 1 or 2 hours a week or every month, you'll meet people, you'll see things, you'll see better insights than just looking at an ONET description of the field. There's also to help with that, to help find a volunteer position, a quick Google search for volunteer, the industry you're interested in Kelowna can go a long way. And then there's also from the Kelowna Community Resource page, there is a volunteer portal link that can help connect you with other opportunities in town. And as you're going through this step, remember, consistent small steps lead to big leaps. It's true. You can have a job that satisfies you and feels rewarding. Careers are not always linear paths, and pivots are very common and often very rewarding at the same time, even if there's a couple months there or a half year or a year where you don't feel like you're moving. Stay the course. That's the worst thing you can do for yourself is to settle for something less than what you prefer. The average person works several jobs in their lifespan at 12 to 17. It's okay to have a stepping stone or two along the way. So with that said, comment below if you've taken any of these steps so far, how you're doing, and your learning so far along the way. What are you learning? That's one of the most important aspects of it all too. What are you learning about yourself? How you handle the stress of job search? How you present at a job fair or a networking event? You're going to learn a lot about yourself as you do this. So, congrats, and I commend you for trying your best. So coming up next is part 3 on taking decisive action, because we can learn everything in the world about ourselves in part 1, and we can do all the research in the world and have the perfect idea. But when that Mike Tyson quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That might be a bit crude, but it speaks to broader just reality. When you test your opinions of yourself and your research against reality, you're bound to learn a lot, and very rapidly, and that can sometimes be scary and frustrating and sad, but it can often be the most important step, is getting going and moving past stage 1 and stage 2 and taking action. And so we're going to get to that in just a moment here. All right, thanks for listening.